What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Muck and Mire 2021 Montgomery High School football season in review podcast series. Keith Glock joined by one of the sneakier standouts from early season to end of season, Montgomery Jr. Gavin Guidette. Gavin, what's up, man?
Nothing much. Just looking forward to the Giant game later tonight.
We'll get you in and out of here before that thing starts. Hopefully you will not have to deal with the amount of heartbreak that I've had to this season with my Atlanta Falcons.
Oh.
Yeah, see, that's pretty much everybody's reaction, and you know, it feels justified to me. But you know,
it's painful.
It is what it is. So, you know, I felt very, very strongly as the season wore on that you probably, it felt like while watching the games that you were more involved from like a percentage of plays you were involved with at the end of the season versus the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. Like it was just on an exponential jump and increase. Is that a true statement, or was I just missing things at the beginning of the season, which is also possible?
I think when I first started, obviously it was the first experience varsity wise for me, and I was more timid than I've ever been. Sorry, that's my dogs.
It's all good.
I was a little more timid in the beginning because it's first time playing. Obviously, I'm gonna be more nervous. But as I progressed through the year, I became more confident in my reads and just the whole team backing me up. And when I know that, I can make the reads quicker. And I think as the season went along, I definitely got in on more plays. Because if I wasn't there first, I was trying to get there as quickly as possible, though.
Was there a moment where, the light bulb, or kind of, you were like, maybe it had gone off already, but now you were like, oh, all right, I really can probably play a little faster, or as you said, trust yourself a little bit more to go and make that play? Was there one moment that you look at and you go, yeah, that was it?
I think Scotch Plains Fanwood, I didn't have my best game, but that's just because everybody on the team was just playing fantastic. And when I was there, that's when I realized if you just trust the system that we had set up, I can do what I'm told to do, and I don't have to second guess. And that's when I realized I could just go and trust everyone else.
How do you now take that skill that you learned and try to impart it into the next Gavin Guidette so that maybe he doesn't take as long to trust in the system?
I think, to really trust the team that is going to be out there next year, off-season work is extremely important for us. And if I know everybody on the team, it's so much better, because if I trust every single player on the team who can get put out there, it's going to be way better for us, and everybody will be working at 100% efficiency, I guess.
Now you say that, and you guys are heading into a very natural team building time of the year in terms of being in the weight room together. And the weight room, I know for you guys, you felt it was a little bit of a source of angst for you, because maybe that was an area where, blame it on whatever you want, COVID or whatever, this just probably wasn't top to bottom the strongest team physically.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I think we definitely did get hit worse by it because a lot of other teams got back in the weight room. So we didn't, and once we get back, we didn't have that kind of connection that really pushes everybody. And without that, the team just got a lot weaker, and you can see that in a lot of our games. We just got, because we were an aggressive team, and we would try to go as hard as we could, but if you're just not as strong, it's way harder. And you can see that clearly.
Now you say you guys didn't have that bond when, by the time you guys did get back from, from COVID, and, the district to district, decisions about what was allowed were different, across the state. And yet, despite being kind of maybe behind the eight ball there in terms of that bond, you're the first underclassman that we've talked to, during this podcast series. And all the seniors have described this team as a remarkably close-knit team.
Oh yeah, I meant like the weight room bond.
Well, right. So I'm saying,
Yeah,
how did we
yeah.
get from a team where didn't exist there right after COVID to now where you all feel extremely connected this way?
I don't know. I think it's just like a great group of guys, and we're all like really close now, and I guess we all just like work well together. I don't know. I don't think there's any other way of explaining it. We all work too well together. So I think if we got in off season, we would have been that much better.
Do you feel, how do you feel? Because whether you like it or not, now you're going to be one of the new big voices, to a greater extent than you even are right now, as Brandon and Alex and all these other guys walk out the door. Leadership can either be replaced or sometimes it isn't. Where do you take me through that, just in terms of the weight that you're feeling there?
I think my whole life I've kind of not been the most like vocal person on like teams, but with this like the new responsibility I'm gonna be like taking over, I think it's gonna be like a new challenge for me, and I'm actually excited for it a lot. And I think I think it's gonna be a good like experience for me, and I want to step up, and I think I have the the capability to. But it's gonna be hard filling shoes like Brandon and Benitez and all those other guys.
You've had the opportunity now to see how different people lead. Probably some are a little more vocal earlier in your career versus this group of guys, which may be a little bit more subdued, but leads through experience. Where do you think you fall in that continuum of leadership?
I think personally, I would say I'm not like extremely vocal, but I want to be like somebody who like knows what they're talking about out there. And I think that can like, if you know what you're talking about, you can see the results, that can like garner a lot of like support and people like listen, So you don't know. I think you don't always need to be like the loudest out there to be like leading well, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think for football, we were busting off the air with Brandon and Alex the other day that like, I never understood trash talk in football.
I don't either.
Like the next play, like I'm literally going to get to kick your what, like what I mean, like it's just it exposes everything that we are as humans. And then I always felt like you make that big play, and it doesn't even have to be a big hit. You score a touchdown, you do something, and it could be you run a guy over. The most powerful thing is to just say nothing. Just say nothing.
I've always, that's like exactly, I completely agree. I've always loved just like saying absolutely nothing. I did that this year a lot. I don't think I trash talked once. Not that it's not fun, obviously, for a lot of people, but
sure.
I always enjoy, like, if I hypothetically I get a big hit, it's way as you said, it's way more fun to just like walk away.
And those guys, when I think about like NFL players who were like so physically dominant that Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, like those guys were just, they're monsters. Yeah. Nobody can cover them, and they never spike the ball. Neither of them ever. They don't talk at all. They just hand the ball to the ref and move on. It's like, and I almost feel like it's demoralizing. You're like, God, like,
yeah, it's like nothing to them.
And I love it.
It's intimidating, I guess.
I love it. I love it. So, you talked about just now about, knowing your assignment and having the faith in the system to do, whatever that job is, and then be able to play fast. As you go into the spring season coming up, you're a lacrosse player. For anybody who didn't know that before, welcome to the Gavin Guidette world, where, he plays midfield on a lacrosse team. A much more, just by the nature of the sport and certainly the position that you play, the ability to freeform and you show off a little more of the athleticism and you excel at both. Is there like a transition point there that you like, okay, I can actually do some stuff now?
Yeah, there really is. It's funny because like when you first go into it, when you first go from football to lacrosse, you always like, you never, like mentally, you try to stick completely to what they tell you to do. Because for football, it's like what coach says you do. But for lacrosse, there's a fluidity, as you said. And with that, you can do more things. And for the first few weeks, you never do. Or at least in my situation, I never do. Because it's like how your brain is wired at the time, I guess.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you keep a stick in your hand all year, or do you kind of put it down for the football season?
I put it down for the football season. I focus on football first in the season, obviously.
I'm such a believer in it. I mean, like, you want to play wall ball, every once in a while, just because, you like doing it. I think that's fine. But the notion of multi-sport athletes is, I don't think you get the same type of athlete, the same type of on-field intelligence by only playing the same sport all the time. And, do you feel like you have an advantage out there in one or the other because you play the other one?
Yeah, 100%. For like defense, like pass game, in lacrosse, you can't just like cover like an area a lot of the times unless you're playing, but you have to cover a man. So in like the defensive pass game, a huge problem people do is they just will cover zones and areas and ignore the man. And playing lacrosse, you can actually like get used to covering the person instead of just the area. And that's like one area I'd say it really helps.
And it helps you when you get over to the football field.
Yeah. It goes back, like it's either or. There's a lot of benefits for both, obviously.
No doubt about it. I have to imagine too, like even within some of those concepts defensively on the lacrosse field where, you're playing man, but you have slide responsibility, at other times, if you find yourself playing man-to-man defense in football, to be able to recognize and then maybe peel off. And that's where, sometimes big plays happen.
With the picks, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Which you like better? Do you have a favorite?
I'd have to go with football. I've played football for like 10 years, like 12 years or something like that. So I'd go with football first.
Why?
Lacrosse is fun, but my dad played football and I've always played football and I love the contact. Lacrosse has a lot of contact, but football, I just love like hitting people.
Sure. You had told me at some point that there were only 2 guys on the team this year that could rep 225 on the bench. What's the goal next year? How, like, when you see your team trotting out there next year, how many guys do we want over that 225 mark?
Ideally, I'd want like 11, but realistically, I'd say like I want the whole I think it would be great for the whole O-line to do it. The QB, I think Mike's going to get there, and running back. So I'd say like 7 or 8, maybe 9.
Okay.
Starters,
I like it.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh?
I've been putting on a lot of pounds, but I think maybe 187 now, or 187 now.
I mean, I don't know, for some people who are out there that don't like lift and do all that stuff, for a 185-pound guy to rep 225 is not an easy task. You know what I mean? It's
it's hard. That's one of my weaker points, the bench.
Well, listen, you got to get there. Pay attention to grip. I'll give you a quick story. Now I'm going back. This has to be 10 years. So I was probably like in my early 30s. And my buddy Scott, who is the head tennis coach at TCNJ, he's also like, he's in phenomenal shape. 50-year-old guy, looks like he's 35. And Griff gave me the bench workout that, he kind of works like the gain program. And he was like, just follow this. And if you actually do what this says to do, I want to see where you are at the end of the summer. And I want to say, like, I could put up at the time like 225, maybe like once or twice. At the end of that summer, so we're talking like 2.5 months, really, I put up 315 twice. Like it was bananas. It was a bananas thing. And then, like, I mean, now I'm old. I can't remember last time I even tried to hit 225, but I still think that like that program, if you gave me like 2 weeks, Like I could probably throw 225 up a couple of times because of that. I mean, talk about the physical, like just what your body can do. And like, especially at your age, I mean, you guys are so young, you're seeing these gains. That's got to be pretty exciting.
It really is. Like, you just see the weight keep moving up. And especially with like grist workouts, it's like you could feel it whenever you're working out. It's like your whole body is like, you're feeling it. And then like the next time you feel it a little less in certain spots, you put up the weight. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's done such a good job with that. I think it's pretty phenomenal. So, so I asked everybody this question first, and I'll ask it to you last, and then I'll let you go so you can check out Monday Night Football. But now with a little bit of time between the end of the season and to where you're now hitting the off season, when you now, after the ability to reflect a little bit, I say 2021 football season, and your brain goes where?
Oof. It just goes. It goes immediately to like the fun I had with the team, all like the good times, like the games obviously, but a lot of the off the field stuff it was just so fun. It was great, like hanging out with just like a family almost.
I suspect that those will be the memories that you will hang on to as the years and years pass.
Yeah.
So, Gav, man, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate the time you took, out before, hanging out and watching games tonight to spend with us. And I'm really looking forward to the next, year and a half of having you on a lot more, and great things to come on the lacrosse field and the football field.
Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. That's been Montgomery Junior Gavin Guidette in the 4th of 5 of our MIRE 2021 football season in review. One more to go over the next couple of days, so make sure you stay tuned as we bring on sophomore quarterback Michael Schmelzer.